you ever speak to me like that again, better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dave.
And we are at episode 65, Dave. The podcast is officially a senior citizen.
All right, let's start collecting that Social Security now.
That's right.
Because there won't be any left by the time you and I are eligible.
That's for sure. So I have to admit right at the top, Dave, right at the top, I got to come clean. I did something a little untoward that I have to come clean with.
What is it, my son?
Last night, I podcasted with another man.
Oh.
I feel so dirty. I have to say, I did not talk about Van Halen. It was not for anything for our podcast. Of course, I would never do that. But I was asked to be a guest on the classic rock album by album podcast because one guy dropped out for the episode. He was unable to do it. So they asked me to be a guest and they asked me to submit a list of albums of suggestions. So I sent in a bunch of suggestions and they were cool enough to pick one of them. Actually, one of my rare favorites, the Four Horsemen, Nobody Said It Was Easy from 1991. And we discussed the album for 3 hours.
Wow. I do know you are a big fan of that album.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little obsessive with it. That's going to be coming out, I believe, soon. So that should be out.
Wow. Well, that's cool. Look at you. You're getting around.
No, I'm not getting around. I just felt dirty about it because, you know.
You shouldn't feel dirty. I think that's awesome that they thought enough of you to invite you on the podcast to discuss an album, quite frankly, that not a lot of people know about, but should. Like I say, you say you're obsessive about it. I know you love it. You've been bragging about that album since it came out for as long as I've known you.
I know. It's so weird the way I got that album. It was given to me when I was an intern at Rolling Stone by one of the writers who just didn't wanted it off his desk. He just said, here, take this, get out of here, get it off my desk. So that was really fun, so I want to thank them for letting me do that. It was a good time, so you guys want to check that out. The Classic Rock Album by Album podcast, and we promote them sometimes with a bumper on our podcast. They do a really good job, and they do every episode is a different album, so it's still different. But I have to say, Dave, you know, at the end, he didn't hold me the way you do.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
That's right.
Baby.
Of course. Enough with the admissions here. I feel like I got that off my chest. I feel a little clean now. We're going to get right into Van Halen news.
Van Halen
News! Believe it or not, we are going to start Van Halen news with a piece of news from Alex, which is a rarity, which is why I'm putting it right at the top. We heard from Alex, although he didn't say much, but we did hear from Alex. Now, we have to wish him a happy belated birthday. He turned 68 on May 8th. You know, Alex is getting up there, Dave. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
No, he's not. We're happy he had another victory lap. So.
Absolutely. And a new picture came out of him, and he's looking good and healthy, and strong. So he said in his message, which he sent exclusively to the Van Halen news desk, so kudos to them for getting that. And this is just a quick quote, and it said, "First birthday without you, Ed. The view from my drum set will never be the same. VH forever. Hashtag Van Halen forever. Alex Van Halen, May 8th, 2021. Then Wolf also followed up, happy birthday to my badass Uncle Al. Love you. And that was really nice. It was good to hear from Al. Curious to see if he does anything drum-wise. The more and more I think about it, the more I think it would be really cool if he did like a supergroup type of thing. And it doesn't have to be something that tours the world or anything, but if he did like a nice project with a bunch of guys of his class and level of playing, like a real classic rock legend like himself, you know, to come together in a band, even if it was just for a project, or maybe if they even did a handful of shows. He's probably not going to be touring around the world at this point. But what do you think?
I really don't think that's going to happen.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because he never guested on anything.
Never.
Anything.
Never even dropped in on people's shows.
No, like he did once, but only because Ed was there.
Right.
I mean, I think that was like Kenny Chesney or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So that's why I don't think he's going to be doing anything with anybody. He played with Ed, and that's really all he ever wanted to play with.
I know. It's
so
crazy.
Honestly, I think he's just going to retire from music and just, you know, enjoy life.
Yeah, well, that very well could be, but I would imagine it's got to be very hard to just let go of the instrument that you've been playing, my God, forever. You know what I mean? I would imagine. I don't know, unless he's got aches and pains or he's not feeling good. I mean, that's a whole other story, but you never know.
I'm not saying he's not jamming at home or whatever, but I just don't get the sense that he's going to do anything organized, like an album or shows or a tour. You know, maybe a tribute to Ed when they finally get around to doing that. But I really think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I think he's going to be like the drummer from REM. Remember when he quit REM?
Yeah.
Like, he quit the music industry.
That was it. He was
done.
done.
That was it.
Yeah.
And you never saw him until REM got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's true. That's
and
very
I
true.
remember, because we were there, because that was the same year Van Halen got in.
Yep.
And I remember the three guys came out, maybe two out of the three guys came out, and they were like, I forget the drummer's name, like, where's the drummer?
I think it was Bill, like, is it Bill Berry or something? Something like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And they're like, where's Bill? And Michael Stipe was like, he's gone. He's already left. He is literally gone back to the farm. That's his life now. Well, Bill had a scare, too. I mean, he almost died on stage.
Yeah.
You know, he had a life-changing event.
Right.
So who can blame him?
That's true.
But along those lines, I think Alex, you know, he's got the horses.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's,
right.
you know, he's enjoying the rest of his life. So good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Wolf. Wolf dropped a fifth song since we last podcasted. He put out Feel, which is the fifth release off of his self-titled album Mammoth WVH, which is coming June 11th. Oh my God, Dave, we're less than a month away. It's hard to believe.
I know. I'm so excited. Excited.
It's beyond. So Feel really has a lot more closer kin to You're to Blame and Don't Back Down. It's got that hard kind of rocking crusher. It's got some really sharp guitar riffs. Here's a clip.
Never more in the game until we agreed, but it was not enough. Looked at me like I was a machine. Was it not enough? You feel something, I feel nothing. I know something's wrong.
I tell you, about 2:20 in, that bass breakdown into the guitar solo, into the drum solo is just incredible. And the background vocals are killer here. He's really howling in the background there. What did you think of Feel, Dave?
I got to tell you, I love this song. Just for me, it was instantly awesome. Accessible. I think it might be my favorite song.
Wow.
So far. But I love the breakdown in the middle, too.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's just a straight-ahead rocker. And it actually reminded me a little bit of U2's Vertigo in the chorus, where he sings Feel.
That's
that
true.
reminded me of the line from U2.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really
deja vu from the U2.
I never thought about that, but I get that. I totally get that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Now you hear it, right?
Now I hear
it.
Yeah,
right?
now I hear it. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, but I love it. And interestingly, I was reading some other reviews of the song online, and not as many people were enamored by it like I was.
Wow.
Like, not to the level, like, I loved it so much that it's almost my favorite song. Other people liked it, but some other people were like, it's nothing great. It's just there. there, and I was just like, wow, I was just so surprised because I loved it so much. I was surprised that the needle was kind of going the other way for some people, but different strokes for different folks.
The instrumentation is off the charts. I mean, it's so good, and it's so rich, and let me tell you, Elvis Biscuit is going to be the hottest producer going when this album comes out, because my God, did he make this album sound amazing.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Wolf has got the songs, and sonically it sounds good.
Yeah.
Although with my usual caveat, my ears are shot, so you're really asking the wrong person.
Yeah.
But to me, it still sounds good. I mean, we're up to what? This is song number 5, Dave?
5.
Is that right?
5, yeah.
Right? So even though we've heard 5 songs already, I mean, all of them have been thumbs up. Some I like more than others, but it's not like he's released anything where either of us were like, wow, that was absolute crap. What a disappointment. We haven't said that at all. So I'm really curious how the rest of the album plays out.
I thought this was great. I have to say, I'm 5 for 5 for me. I love them all. I think they've been great. I can't wait for the whole thing. It's hard to believe that we are on the eve of it coming. It's unbelievable. So
we interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hey guys, since Dave and I went into production on this month's Van Halen news segment, Mammoth WVH dropped a 6th single called Mammoth. Here's a clip. This song has a real uplifting vibe, and the lyrics are very inspirational. The driving guitar riff has a touch of aggression to it, but it's also very melodic. This is what makes Wolf's music so intriguing, because he rocks out, but he doesn't chintz on the lyrics, and his melodies are always rich. This is another winner and puts Mammoth WVH on track to have an incredible debut like Van Halen did in 1978. Dave, what do you think?
I think Mammoth is a great song, very catchy, another 2 thumbs up. Every song so far has been pretty good, and I just can't wait to hear the whole album. Although at the rate they're going, I think we're going to hear the whole album before it comes out. I'm just as excited as I was before. Really good stuff.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Now, Wolf did a full-blown interview in Total Guitar. And of course, Eddie's on the cover because every guitar magazine, anything to put Eddie on the cover. And Wolf does make it on the top right-hand corner as like a postage stamp photo of himself. But he did a full in-depth interview with Total Guitar. And this is some of the things, the takeaways from here. He talked about popularity, right? He says, I didn't see it winning this many people over, meaning his music, so soon or at all, really. I just made the record for me. For it to resonate with a bunch of people has really been awesome. When it comes to distance, he says, it certainly wasn't the first song I was planning on releasing. It's a bit to the left of the core sound of the album, but I think it still fits. It seemed right. In addressing the ending of Don't Back Down. We talked about this in the last episode. The interviewer asked him, is that a wink to So This Is Love? And he says, yeah, except Dad does this little kink with the pick on the strings, and I do a little phaser pick slide. He says, I'm surprised how quickly people caught that. In dealing with haters online, he says, it's an up and down thing. Sometimes you just need to take a little break, and I ignore it for a while. But every now and then, some asshole lobs you a really big softball that you just fucking knock out of the park. And he says, it's really fun. Then he addressed the song Mr. Ed, which is obviously a nod to his dad, and he's tapping on it. But the lyrics are not about Ed, so he wanted everybody to know that. And he said that You're to Blame is probably the most representative of the album's sound, which is a good sign. He said he did 2 vocal takes at his home studio, but mostly he recorded at 5150. And he says he tracked everything to tape so it sounds extra crispy. He used a Gibson ES-335 and a black Wolfgang Custom. He also used Frankenstein, which is Eddie's famous guitar, and he said that there's a solo on the song Mammoth, And the solo on the song Feel, he's using Frankenstein. She says, you feel the history. To talk about holding and playing the guitar. I know it's terrifying holding it because it's the most famous guitar in music history. In terms of the amps he used 5150 amps in Marshalls. His favorite guitar part is You'll Be the One. He did a song called You'll Be the One. There's a talk box, which he really enjoyed. He said Ed's favorite song was Think It Over. We have talked about that before. And he very often referred to it as the song with Wolf's George Harrison